Throughout the show, we've played clips from my exclusive interview with President Biden on Friday, but we've saved the best for last. Listen as President Biden describes how he thinks Vice President Kamala Harris is doing and just why he called himself Old Joe Biden when he called my Aunt Gloria. We're at Delaware State University, HBCU in your home state. Of course, it makes me think probably the most preeminent HBCU graduate in the United States, the Vice President of the United States, Vice President Harris. How's she doing? You're almost 2 years in. How's she doing?
She's doing great. She is first of all, she's smart as hell. She has a backbone like a ramrod, and she has enormous integrity. And but if you take a look out there, there isn't any public figure that is, 60% favorable ratings. I mean, most of but she is doing a great job, and she is really, really thoroughly informed, and particularly on areas of foreign policy and national security issues. And so I find her to be extremely, extremely well qualified and a great asset. We have lunch once a week, and there's nothing that she is cut off from. Mm-hmm. We engage her in everything, but I think she's doing a great job.
Since we're on a college campus, you gave a speech about college affordability, your student loan program, which got a couple of wins yesterday with cases, the judges ruling in your program's favor. In addition to that, Mr. President, you also did that blanket pardon for people with federal charges of simple marijuana possession. The commentary is you did this as a way of getting the youth vote. Do you think that's going to work?
I got over 60% of the youth votes last time, and I didn't do that. But here's what it is. It's not what's going to work, it's what's fair. Mm-hmm. The idea that someone would sit in a federal prison for the possession and use, not the sale to minors, not the trafficking, not just possession, and sit in a federal prison makes no sense to me. None. And it just, anyway, so I've been thinking about this for a long time and done a fair amount of research on whether or not just the mere use of marijuana, I'm not talking about legalizing, just the use of it, is so detrimental. And the idea of putting someone in prison, and what happens is, Jonathan, everything about their background gets put on hold. They can't borrow money, they can't buy a house, because they have a record. They've been in a federal prison. So it's not just to let them out of prison, wipe the record clean. Wipe it clean. There's no rationale, in my view, for someone and thousands of young people being in a situation where they are put behind the 8 ball the rest of their life because they've used marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Mr. President, I can't be with you and not ask you a question concerning my Aunt Gloria, who you may recall was your biggest fan in 2020 because she said, going to need an old white dude to go after to take on an old white dude. But when I asked her if you should run for re-election, and still, she loves you, but she said she's not sure that you should, given your age. That with the one caveat, that if Donald Trump runs again, you absolutely have to run again. So let's say Trump doesn't run again. Convince Aunt Gloria that she should stick with you.
Well, I think Aunt Gloria should take a look. I think it's a legitimate thing to be concerned about anyone's age, including mine. I think that's totally legitimate. But I think the best way to make the judgment is to watch me. Am I slowing up? Am I don't have the same pace as her? And that old joke, everybody talks about the new 70s, 50s, and all that stuff. It could be, I'm a great respecter of fate. I could get a disease tomorrow. I could, drop dead tomorrow. But in terms of my energy level, in terms of how much I'm able to do, I think people should look and say, does he still have the same passion for what he's doing? And if they think I do and I can do it, then that's fine. If they don't, then they should vote against me. Not against me, they should encourage me not to go. But that's not how I feel. I can't even say the age I'm going to be. I can't even get it out of my mouth. I can't. I swear to God, it's like, no, come on, that can't be true. And you think I'm joking? You know I'm not joking.
I know you're not joking.
it's just strange. But I think Aunt Gloria should just take a real hard look, and if she concludes that I'm missing a beat, then she should, support some other Democrat if they decide to run. But Jonathan, right now, knock on wood, don't want to jinx myself. I'm in good health. All of everything physically about me is still functioning well. So, and mentally too. So, but I understand people wanting to ask that question.
Which is the better job, senator or president?
There's only one reason, I think, to be in public life. I really mean it. Can you make life better for other people? And there's no place that you have a better opportunity to do that than as President of the United States. The difference between being president and being a senator, even a quote important senator, chairman of committees and all of that, is that nothing gets to the president that hadn't gotten to him because it's been unable to be solved in the meantime. And so it's one of the things that is the difficult part of the Senate. I mean, I get up, work out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I go to bed 11 o'clock at night. I mean, they tell my staff to not put those big briefing books together for me when I walk out the door. But all kidding aside, it's there's just a whole lot out there. But I'm going to say something I probably should consider not saying.
Oh, say it.
Is that I have more substantive experience on the issues facing the country, both in foreign policy and domestic policy, than any president ever, just because I've been around so long doing this. And so the bad part is I feel like I'm in a good position to make the right decisions. But some of the decisions are almost toss-ups. They're hard. And I'm not saying I get everything right, but it's not the facts that are missing. It's the judgment about the other players. For example, I know every major world leader. I've known almost every major world leader for the last 20 years because of my role. And as vice president, I did an awful lot of foreign policy for the president. A lot of it is just in the Senate, knowing and accurately assessing what the other guys or woman is thinking and how to get to go. Because I still think there's enormous possibility to reach compromise on important things. You can't always get it your own way, but you can move it a long way. And I just, right now, who knows what happens. Look, you know my history. I got elected to the Senate when I was 29. I thought at the top of the world. And 6 weeks later, my wife and daughter were killed. My 2 boys almost died because they got struck by a tractor trailer. I'm a great respecter for fate, of fate. And so, but right now, I feel completely capable of doing the job as well as anybody can do the job. And it's, we'll see.